Namaste, Saraswati Deve, Gauravani Pracharane, Nirvishesha, Shunvadi, Ashtamayadi. Om Agana Divarandasya, Jananjana Salakaya, Chaturum Lidam Yena, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Shri Chaitanya Nodishtam, Stapitam Yena Bhutale, Swayam Rupa Kadamayam, Dadati Swavadantikam, Vandeham Shri Guru, Shri Utha Para Kamalam, Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Scha, Shri Rupam Sagradatam, Sahagana Raghunatham Viham Tam Sajivam, Savaitam Savadutam, Rajana Saitam, Krishna Chaitanya Devam, Shri Radha Krishna Padam, Sahagana Lalita, Shri Vishakam Zitam Shcha, Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu, Dinabandhu Vigade, Gopesha Gopika Nanda, Radha Kanta Namaste, Tapta Kanchan Gaurani, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Vrishabhanu Sudevi, Brahmani Gripriye, Panchatapa Trivishya, Vivastu Devya, Pandita Bhavadevyo, Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda, Shri Radha Shri Gaur Bhaktivinoda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 18, the Residents of Jambudvipa offer prayers, text number 19. Taistva Rishikvaram Svato Yairadya Loke Patim Asad Satenyam Tasam Natevai Paripantyapatyam Priyam Dana Yumshi Ito Swatantraha Striya Vrataistva Rishikeshwaram Swato Yaradya Loke Patim Asad Satenayam Tasam Natevai Paripantyapatyam Priyam Daya Yumshi Ito Swatantraha Mataji's. Sriya Vratais Tva Rishikeshwaram Swato Radya Loke Patim Asad Sate Noyam Tasam Nate Vai Paripantya Patyam Priyam Daya Yumshi Tito Svatantraha Striya, all women, Ratai, by observing fasting and other vows. Twa, you, Rishikeshwaram, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Master of the senses, Swataha, of your own accord. He certainly, Aradhya, worshipping, Loke, in the world, Patim, a husband, Ashadsate, asked for, Anyam, another, Tasam, of all those women, Na, not, Te, the husband, Vai, indeed, Paripanti, able to protect, Apatyam, the children, Priyam, very dear, Dhanam, the wealth, Ayumsi, or the duration of life, Yataha, because, Asvatantya Tandra, dependent. My dear Lord, you are certainly the fully independent master of all the senses. Therefore, all women who worship you by strictly observing vows, because they wish to acquire a husband to satisfy their senses, are surely under illusion. They do not know that such a husband cannot actually give protection to them or their children, nor can he protect their wealth or duration of life, for he himself is dependent on time, proved results, and the modes of nature, which are all subordinate to you. Please repeat. My dear Lord, You are certainly the fully independent master of all the senses. Therefore, all women who worship you, by strictly observing vows, because they wish to acquire a husband to satisfy their senses, are surely under illusion. They do not know that such a husband can actually give protection to them or their children, nor can he protect their wealth or duration of life, for he himself is dependent on time. Free results and the modes of nature which are all subordinate to you. Purport. In this verse, Lakshmi Devi, Rama, shows compassion toward women who worship the Lord for the benediction of possessing a good husband. Although such women desire to be happy with children, wealth, a long duration of life, and everything dear to them, they cannot possibly do so. In the material world, the so-called husband is dependent on the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are many examples of a woman whose husband, being dependent on the results of his own fruitive activities, cannot maintain his wife, her children, her wealth, or her duration of life. Therefore, factually, the only real husband of all women is Krišna, the Supreme Husband. Because the gopis were liberated souls, they understood this fact. Therefore, they rejected their material husbands and accepted Krišna as their real husband. Krišna is the real husband, not only of the gopis, but of every living entity. Everyone should perfectly understand that Krišna is the real husband of all living entities, who are described in the Bhagavad Gita as Prakriti, female, not only Purusha, male, not Purusha, male. In the Bhagavad Gita 10:12, only Krishna is addressed as Purusha. Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Shasvitam Divyam, Adi Devam Ajam Vibhu. You are the Supreme Brahman, the ultimate, the supreme abode and purifier, the absolute truth and the eternal divine person. You are the primal God, transcendental and original, and you are the unborn and all-pervading beauty. Krišna is the original Purusha, and the living entities are Prakriti. Thus, Krišna is the enjoyer, and all living entities are meant to be enjoyed by him. Therefore, any woman who seeks a material husband for her protection, or any man who desires to become the husband of a woman, is under illusion. To become a husband means to maintain a wife and children nicely by supplying wealth and security. However, a material husband cannot possibly do this, for he is dependent on his karma. Karmana daivam daiva netrena. His circumstances are determined by his past fruitive activities. Therefore, one proudly thinks he can protect his wife, he is under illusion. Krišna is the only husband, and therefore the relationship between a husband and wife in this material world cannot be absolute. Because we have the desire to marry, Krišna mercifully allows the so-called husband to possess the wife, and the wife to possess the so-called husband for mutual satisfaction. And the Ishupanishad is said, Tena Tyaktena Bunjitaha. The Lord provides everyone with his quota. Actually, however, every living entity is Prakriti or female, and Krišna is the only husband. Ekala Ishvara Krišna Ara Shababritya. Yari yache nachaya taiche kare nritya. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi 5, 142. Krishna is the original master, a husband of everyone, and all other living entities, having taken the form of so-called husbands or wives, are dancing according to his desire. So-called husband may unite with his wife for sense gratification, but his senses are conducted by Rishikesh, the master of the senses, who is therefore the actual husband. So the verse again. Striyo vrataistva Grishikeshwaram swato yadradya loke patim ashasatenyam tasam nate vai pripantya patyam priyam dana yumsi yato swatantraha. My dear Lord, you are certainly the fully independent master of all the senses. Therefore, all women who worship you by strictly observing vows, because they wish to acquire a husband to satisfy their senses, are surely under illusion. They do not know that such a husband cannot actually give protection to them or their children, nor can he protect their wealth or duration of life, for he himself is dependent on time, fruitive activities, and the modes of nature, which are all subordinate to you. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswatam Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskyatyade Sadarane. Prahlad Maharaj says, Valasya Neha Sharnam Pitro Nashingha Nartasya Chagadam Udanvato Majatal now. Taptasya tat prividira uhanja shestas twadvido tanubritam twat upekshatanam. Balasya, of the child, there are so many children, and formerly they used to have two parents, therefore it was pitaro and two. Now it's not always like that anymore. But Balasya Sharanam Pitaro Nashingha, that the parents may try to protect the children. And Nartasya, Artasya means one who's suffering from some disease. Nartasya Chagadam, Agadam. Agadam means medicine, or a good doctor. So, if we're suffering from disease, we need a good doctor and medicine. Udanvato, a boat, Majatal now a boat, on the water, they try and cross the water. But it doesn't happen. Sometimes the child succumbs to death. Sometimes the medicine is ineffective. And sometimes the boat sinks. But the point is, everyone's looking for shelter. And it's just everyone is choosing different types of shelter according to their knowledge and according to their experience and according to their circumstances. We expect most of our shelters to work, although sometimes they don't work and we become disappointed. Now, what is the ultimate shelter in the material world we're looking for? We can take the example of Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu, being formerly a gatekeeper of Lord Vishnu, was quite intelligent. So when he came to the material world, he realized he had a problem, which was a problem he didn't have in Vaikuntha. That is, that he was going to die. And since he had that problem, he decided that if I'm going to make any progress in the material world to becoming God, first of all, I have to solve that problem. It is very difficult to be God if you have to be under the subordination of time, because that means that time is more powerful or supreme over oneself. just like we all have the experience that there's nothing we can do about time. We may try and decorate our bodies in different ways to make people believe that I'm not under the influence of time. But at night, when we take off the makeup or whatever else we have on, it's all revealed again, that we haven't made any progress in conquering time. We may have covered over our inability to conquer time for some time, but it becomes more and more apparent as time goes on. So Hiranyakashipu, he stood on the tip of his toes for 120 years of the demigods. Exactly how many years, I don't know, but it's a long time. And he didn't eat, he didn't breathe because his lungs were eaten. He didn't have to think because his brain was eaten. He didn't have to do anything, he just stood there. And after some time, Brahma came to give him whatever benediction he wanted, the creator of the universe. So he asked, let me become immortal. And Brahma said, well, I myself, I'm subjected to time, I must die. So how can I make you immortal? And although Hiranyakashipu tried in so many different ways to become immortal by asking for so many varieties of benedictions, ultimately he died. He could not stop death, which is basically what it says in the Bhagavatam, that the whole material endeavor is about. We may hear about romance and love, we may hear about big construction projects, we may hear about politics or sociology, but ultimately it boils down to we're just trying to survive. We're trying to have this body survive because we think when the body dies, then I disappear. And therefore, all the questions, all the answers, all the activities are all meant to, according to Shukadeva Goswami, Deha Patya Kalatradishu Atma Sanyeshva Satsupi Tesham Pramato Nidanam Pashanapi Napashati. So the body, we love the body because just imagine how attached we are to our body, how much we serve it, how much we appreciate it, how much we worship it. So that means that we're by nature servants because we're not the body, but we're putting a lot of love and attention onto the body constantly. We can go through 100 years of this body, and whatever the condition the body's in, we're loving it, we're paying attention to it, we're trying to serve it, because we're all very faithful servants. The only problem is the object of our service is wrong. That's all. We've taken this dead material body as the object of our attention, the object of our love and service, and it only repays us back with problems. But we're such faithful servants, never mind. Let me serve this body up to the last breath. And even I get another body in any of the 8,400,000 species of life, I'll become as faithful a servant of that body as I am as this body. Just imagine how much love and devotion we'd have for Krishna if we didn't have a material body. We'd have to give our love and attention somewhere, so we give it to Krishna. The difference is our love and attention for Krishna would be awarding to us, while the love and attention that we give to this body is not unreasonable if we're utilizing this body in Krishna's service, but it's wasted if we don't utilize it in Krishna's service. Therefore, we may try in so many ways to protect the body. In that verse by Shukadeva Goswami, we get married to have children and a house and a bank balance, etc., etc. But the result is we die anyhow. No matter how big our house is, and how much money we have in the bank account, and how many strong dogs, and how many loving is our wife or our husband, still we die. So all our attempts to secure security in this material world ultimately wind up to be a failure. Does that mean we shouldn't attempt to find some security? Well, obviously it's our nature to do so, because in one sense, this body is a valuable opportunity if it's utilized to become Krishna conscious. Therefore, we should look both ways before we cross the street. Not that I came to Bhagavatam class and I found out there's no security, only Krishna is my security, so I'm going to close my eyes when I cross the street and chant Hare Krishna and hope Krishna will save me. And if he doesn't save me, then the philosophy is wrong and I'm in trouble. No, it's Krishna's body, and therefore we should work to protect it so that we can utilize it in Krishna's service, for Krishna's benefit, and for our opportunity to make some advancement in Krishna consciousness while we have this human form of life and this particular circumstances. But balasyaneha sharanam pitaro nashingha, we cannot say that because the child has good parents, the child would be protected. Ultimately, it's up to Krishna. And even if the child grows up, as most children do, still it doesn't mean the child will not die anyhow. The parents may try to protect the child, give it all comfort so it can grow up, but then after it grows up, who's going to save the child? The family may try and save the child in the adult stage, but ultimately when it gets old, it gets an old body, who's going to protect the old body? The old age home. But people actually die in old age homes. Matter of fact, more people die in old age homes than anywhere else. So one may seek shelter in the old age home, but they can't give one protection. And similarly, Chagadam, the medicine may be effective for some time, and therefore we shouldn't reject the medicine that I'm going to die anyhow. No, we may prolong our life for some time, but ultimately we shouldn't think that the medicine will save me, because I'm going to have to die no matter what kind of medicine I have. And the boat may be strong and steady, and it may cross the river. We shouldn't get on a rickety boat trying to cross the ocean. But ultimately, when we get to the other side, we're going to die there anyhow. Therefore, ultimately, it's all up to Krishna. But in the meantime, what we do is up to us. Therefore, Maharaji Shabdev said, Gurur nasyat, Pita swajano nasyat syat, Pita nasyat syan, swajani nasyat syan, Daivam nasyat syan, patis nachasyan, namochiat yaksum paitim mrityum. So one should not become a guru. One should not become a relative. One should not become a father. One should not become a mother. One should not become someone who's worshipable. And one should not become a husband unless one is prepared to save one's dependents from the cycle of birth and death. So in one sense, we're hearing we can't save anyone, and therefore no one should become, therefore, a father or a mother or a guru or a relative or anyone who's worshipable or a husband, because we can't save anyone. So Maharaji Shabdev said you shouldn't become any of these things if you can't save your dependent. So everyone should get divorced, throw the children out to the street or leave home, and anyone who says that they're following you, you should reject them immediately because they're an illusion, because you can't do anything for them. No, actually, obviously that would be absurd. And our philosophy is not absurd. So it appears to be a contradiction. One side, we can't save anyone, and the other one, Maharaji Shabdev says, you should save anyone. Therefore, we should know that we can't save anyone. That's an absolute, ultimately. But we should become an instrument for Krishna who can save everyone. So that comes back to the fact that we're actually not the material body. And even deeper than that, or perhaps disappointing, is that we're not even the doer of our activities. They're being carried out either by the modes of material nature or by the spiritual energy, Daivi Prakriti. It simply remains with us what energy we want to be under, that's all. And if we're under the spiritual energy, whatever we do is good for ourselves and good for others. And if we're under the external energy, whatever we do is bad for ourselves and bad for everyone else. It's just a question of how bad it is. Therefore, one should become a father, actually, one should become a guru. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Yari Deka Tarikaha Krishna Upadesh Amaya Aga Guruhana Taradesh. He's ordered everyone to become a guru. But what kind of guru? Does that mean everyone should sit on a big seat and everyone should come and touch one's lotus feet, offer praise and dakshin, and then I can feel myself, yes, I finally become a guru? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not talking about that kind of guru. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is talking about the guru whoever one meets, one acts as a servant and tries to help that person advance in Krishna consciousness. That's the type of guru that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted us to become. We may not get any recognition. As a matter of fact, in ISKCON, you probably won't get anything at all except for criticism. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be happy, and if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is happy, then we'll actually become happy. Prahlad Maharaj, he took that seriously, and when his father asked him, what's the best thing that you've learned in school? Then Prahlad Maharaj acted as a guru to his father and said, I think the best thing I've learned in school, my dear father, is that you're a number one fool. Tat sadhu manye suryavarya dehinam sadasa vugmigna dhyama satgrahat hidvatma putam griham andukupam kato yadvarnam ashriyatya. That I think that you're full of anxiety, therefore you should chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Of course, his father did not appreciate that, although Prahlad Maharaj was acting as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Krishna's instrument. And therefore, he was in Krishna consciousness, no matter what state of consciousness his father happened to find himself in. He did not take advantage of the good instructions given by his son, nor as the good example of his son was giving to him, but ultimately he was benefited. Ultimately he came back in some births, and eventually he went back to the spiritual world too. Therefore we should become guru, but as instrument for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Similarly, we should become a husband or a wife or a father or a mother as an instrument for Lord Krishna. Then we will not be overwhelmed by the false ego that I am a husband, I am a wife, I am a father, a mother. We will think ourselves, Gopi Varta Pada Kamalayar, Dasa Dasa Anudasa, as the servants of our acharyas and disciple succession. But does that mean that we'll lose feeling for our children, for our husband, for our wife, for our followers? No, actually, if we become an instrument for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, our spiritual feelings, our real feelings will be invoked, and we'll be able to perfectly invoke feelings and activities, intelligence, with such expertise that we'll be able to actually deliver our dependence from the cycle of birth and death, and at the same time we'll be delivered from the cycle of birth and death. So one can act in this world in any capacity, but one should act as a servant of Krishna, under Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's directions. And then our activities will become perfect, under the spiritual energy. And we will not become caught up in the false ego that we're the doer, we're the savior, we're the controller, we're the enjoyer. We realize that this is for Krishna's enjoyment, that Krishna is the doer, and that Krishna is the real benefactor of everyone. And then we'll find peace in this world and ultimate happiness. So I'll stop there. Thank you. Any questions, comments? Moment of silence. Well, if no one asks a question, I'll sit here until they do, and then you might have to miss. You might have to miss prasadam. Okay, I give up. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande.